Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And we are so glad you joined us today on TYRO TV.
You know, TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior.
Woo! A warrior. And what we do is we teach people how to war for their legacy, how to war to become a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace.
Because we know everybody has a story. We know there's a backstory for everyone who's not only successful, but on their way to be success. And our backstory is we've overcome incarceration, we've overcome poverty, we've overcome the entitlement mentality, and we've overcome, guess who? Ourselves.
Right, our own stinking thinking. And so if you're feeling suffocated by the pressures of life around you, if you've forgotten how to dream, you want to stay tuned because we're going to teach you how to dream again. So not only are we going to inspire you and motivate you, but we are going to give you practical tools and tips on how to overcome every obstacle to build a strong, thriving, healthy family.
So one of the things that's dear to our heart is fathers. You know, in a time of today, the time of where we live at today, you know, the fathers are out of the picture. They're not at home. They're not taking care of what they're supposed to do. And we want to really talk to the dads and help them and inspire them to listen. You are valuable. You are worthy. Your family needs you.
You are important. A strong, healthy father brings stability into his children's lives. And so as we talk today and we talk in the coming shows, you are going to get practical tools and tips on how to be the best dad you can be, how to form a healthy, strong family, how to have a healthy relationship in co-parenting or in your marriage, how to overcome everything. We went from a place of just stinking thinking and welfare and entitlement and prison to having a strong, healthy family and being successful in reaching our goals and dreams. So stay tuned.
And we'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy Tijerina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions. To own it, you'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we're talking about how to own your story.
Ooh-wee, what a powerful tool. If you own your story, that means that you own control of your own life. You're not just letting life happen to you. You're not letting your past define you. But instead, your past is qualifying you for your future if you let it.
Man, I tell you what, when we talk about living out your destiny, right, you got to own your story. In order to walk out your dream and live out your destiny, you must, this is the most important thing you can do in your life. If you're looking for a secret ingredient, if you're looking for that secret sauce of success, this is it right here. Own your story, because we guarantee you once you begin to own your story, it will catapult you to a new level of existence, a new level of thinking. You want to learn how to dream again? Own your story.
You see, everybody has a measure of pain and a measure of joy in their life. Everybody. No human being is exempt from having trials, tribulations, and obstacles and challenges. And so if you think, oh, woe is me, I'm the only one, and you feel suffocated by the obstacles and challenges you're facing in your life, then you have not owned your story. Because when you own your story, you recognize, wow, that is a struggle. And you know what? I failed here, but I have opportunity to learn something from that failure, to get up and keep going. And so we want to share with you our story so you know where it is we're coming from.
You know, as we think about our own story, we want to start our story in 1991. In 1991, our world turned over. Our world flipped out. Our mind was just, we were
boggled, right?
We couldn't believe what was
Chaos
happening.
reigned, right.
Not only did chaos reign, but it quickened in us. It was like, wow, what is going on? Well, in 1991, I was convicted of a crime I did not commit and sentenced to 14 to 25 years to a state penitentiary. Man, you talk about, I'm 25 years old, I don't know nothing about life.
You talk about shock and awe, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, here we are. First of all, we were living in this oppression, right? We were living this crazy life, not really recognizing who we were. We had stopped dreaming. We didn't have any goals. We were just kind of letting life happen. And then all of a sudden, boom, we hit this brick wall. Ron's in prison, and here I am at home. 2 little boys, ages 2 and 4, find myself on welfare in a dilapidated trailer. Oh my word.
But what we didn't know was, listen, not only was I convicted of a crime I didn't commit, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't have been there, because the life we were leading led us to a point where I couldn't be taken at my word, right? And so we really had to look at our story, look at what got us to this place in life. What were we doing that we were in a position to find ourselves in this position?
Right.
Right?
And so 14 to 25 years. I'm sitting here, I'm 24 years old.
I'm 25.
2 little boys, and here my whole life is just boom. And thankfully, at that moment, that was our wake-up call. Like, what the heck have we been doing with our lives? Just letting our lives be tossed to and fro instead of setting a course in our life, instead of really owning our story and saying, okay, you know what? These are the things that we've been doing wrong that created this circumstance in our life that is about ready to take us out, about ready to take out our marriage, about ready to take out our kids. Because we looked at the statistics and said, oh my gosh, our kids now are at increased risk of going to prison, of living in poverty and being poor the rest of their lives, of being angry, of committing crimes, of using drugs, alcohol, being teen parents. We had to face this and say, wow, we are creating this atmosphere for our children. And we decided, no, we are going to do something different.
So it was in prison, part of our story. Now listen, this is our story. Part of our journey, and it happened, we found ourselves in prison, we began to wake up. We began to really understand something, that what we didn't want anymore.
Yes.
And that's key to your success, to being set free, to really understanding how to put some principles in your life, these key principles on how to change your story.
Yes.
Right? You see, because as long as you have breath, your story is not over.
Say that again. Say that again.
As long as you have breath, your story is not over.
And if you're watching this, you still have breath. So you still have the opportunity to flip your script.
So what's your story? I don't know what it is, but you know what it is. Maybe some of you are still stuck in a chapter in your life that you've been reliving. Ever see that movie Groundhog Day?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where this guy wakes up and every day he gets an opportunity to do something different, but he wakes up every day to the same day. Well, you know what? Our life was like that. We were waking up to the same thing each and every day, check by check, job after job, dilapidated trailer, couldn't pay our bills, not wanting to answer the phone because it might be the repo man.
Miserable, unhappy.
Fighting all the time.
All the time. Yep, and it was all his fault.
It's all her fault. Still is.
That's right. And then we realized, oh my goodness, we can create our own destiny. We have the opportunity in spite of circumstance. We can't control all the circumstances in our lives, but we can control our own attitude. And when we realized in order to control our own attitude, we had to own our own story. That means we had to look at the places where we had made mistakes, and we had to create our own corrective action plan so that we didn't continue to live that way.
So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk about why owning your own story is so important. So stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
own story.
You know, one thing that we've learned over our journeys and over the years that we've been doing this is that if you don't own your story owns you.
Ooh-wee. And that is for sure. Because if you don't tell your story, if you don't own up to your past mistakes, and not just your mistakes, but also if you don't own up to your triumphs, somebody else is going to own it. Somebody else is going to control your life and your destiny. Because they're going to tell you who you are, they're going to define you, they're going to tell you what you're capable of doing, and they're going to keep you in a nice little box that's comfortable for who? Them.
You know, one thing that we've learned is how to take the power away from others. You know, and this is key. Own your story. You know, because if you don't own your story and you allow somebody else to dictate and tell your story, you know, you become what they say about you. You will start living that lie about what others will say about you. So listen, dads, as you guys are really energized and you're powering up your family to face the reality of what's out there, you know, one of the things that we can give to our kids, right, is the power to own their destiny. By owning their destiny, it begins first by owning what you create. By owning what you create is experience. We have a saying where we come from is calling things that are not as if they already are. That means that you can dream and you can start speaking things into existence in your own life.
As you work hard towards achieving those goals and those objectives that you have in your life. But if you don't own your own story, something of your story, of your life, of your past is going to sneak up and take you out. Because what people don't know, they know a part, and what they don't know, they're going to make up the rest. And so your reputation, why is it important to own your own story? Because then it has no power nor authority over you. Because when you don't own your story, that guilt, right? That disdain, shouldas, right? Couldas, wouldas, take you over in your mind, and they keep you from living up to your highest potential. Because you're constantly being held back by your past. When you recognize that your past does not define you, then you are empowered and you are free to create a better future for yourself, to dream again, right? To set goals.
You know, and it's not just for you.
Oh,
you know,
no.
your family is out there watching you. There's people out there waiting for you. But if you don't come into your right position, this is why it's so important to own your story. Remember this, your story does not define who you are, but it will qualify you for your future if you let it. Your story is that which will catapult you to a new level of life. Why? Because now you're embracing the experience that you created,
right,
that you had part of, and now you're allowing it to teach you what you need to learn so you can graduate from that chapter and go to the next chapter. And there's people in your sphere of influence that are waiting for you to get where you're supposed to be so that they can reap the blessings that you are going to bestow upon them.
And if you don't take your rightful place, somebody else will. And you will miss out on the purpose to which you were created. You will miss out on your opportunity to actually walk out your destiny. So you need to own your story. Look at your life. You know, when we think about what has happened to us in our lives, it's really easy to get discouraged. It's really easy to say, oh, woe is me, poor me, look what happened to me. That wasn't fair. We had every excuse in the book to fail. Every excuse. But we decided, you know what, we're going to define our own lives, that we are going to overcome every one of those obstacles and become successful, not just for ourselves, but for our children. And we recognize the importance of owning our own story, and you must recognize that it is urgent that you own your own story. If you want to create a path for your children and your legacy so that your children can thrive, you must own your own story. Look at the places where you're making mistakes so that you can overcome that and teach your children a brand new path in life.
So what does that mean? That means you got to be real. Everybody has a story. There's a lot of people out there still wearing a lot of masks. Come on, dads. If you're wearing a mask and you're not being that transparent with your family, how can you expect your children's and your children's children's to not only look up to you, but to outpass you? Because that's every dream of every father,
right,
is to have their children not only outpass them, outsucceed them, right, but to outlive them, and be empowered.
Yes, we have worked with tens of thousands of dads, tens of thousands of couples and families, probably hundreds of thousands of people. Yes, definitely hundreds of thousands of people. And every time that somebody fails, it's because they say this, you know what, I just couldn't overcome my past. You know what, so-and-so just wouldn't let me. It might be your mother-in-law, your neighbor, your friend, your brother, your sister, your own family. They just won't let me set my past behind me. You know what, the truth is, you're not letting you do it. They have no power or authority over you that you don't give them. So if you want to be set on a new path, you want to dream again, you have to own your story and look them in the eye and say, you know what, you're right. Say it. You're right.
You know,
I made a lot of mistakes.
And you got to look in the mirror, you know, looking in the mirror. We're going to talk about it in the next segment on how to do this. But really, the importance is really you're creating a legacy, not only for you, but for your family. You are creating a legacy, and it first begins by owning your story. Everybody, now there's chapters in your life that nobody knows about, right? But I want to challenge you today, right, to get in that closet. Get those skeletons, get them out there, bring them to the light. You don't got to tell nobody, tell yourself your story.
Yep.
That's the first process of healing, bringing healing to your life, right?
So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to break down the process on how do you own your own story so that your story no longer holds you captive, holds you bondage, and holds you imprisoned from your future.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about Mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we're talking about how to be empowered by owning your own story.
How to let your past propel you into your future legacy.
Woo! You know what? Who would have thought that our story
Oh, my.
would have put us in a place of influence today?
Yeah, never in a million years. As Ron went off to prison, serving 14 to 25 years, as I found myself on welfare, a single mom socially, raising 2 small children, never in a million years would I have thought that was actually going to help me become successful. That was what actually caused me to wake up and say, you know what, we have got to do something different.
Man, and the thing about owning our story, guess what? It's scary.
Ooh, yes,
It's a scary place when you're willing to pull back the onion, right, as they say, and really begin to see it. And the thing about it is when they say when you're peeling back the onions, you know, onions when you're cutting them, and if it's a real good onion, what happens to you?
Your eyes water up.
And you start to cry, right? And you're not meaning to cry, but when you're peeling back the onions in your life, this is how you do this. You take one chapter at a time, one experience at a time, and you bring it to the light, and you look at it, and you examine it, and you call it out, and you don't run from it, but you see it, you embrace it, you talk about it, you bring it out, you talk about it, and guess what? The onion is gonna make you cry.
Because there are things in your life that you have refused to look at. You've said, you know what, that's too painful. I don't want to think about it. I'm just going to set that back there, and it's not affecting me. You know what? It might not be affecting you, but it's infecting you. And you've got to get that infection out. So when you own your own story, we're going to give you a really simple process to do. So you're going to take out a piece of paper, You can take it out right now, or you can just like write down this is what you're gonna do. Take out a piece of paper. And then you're gonna draw a timeline. You know, if you think about a number line, you're gonna draw that line with a beginning point right here, which is the birth of you, right? Write your name right there, I was born. And then you're gonna draw that line across a piece of paper. And then you're gonna think about every significant event that has ever happened to you in your life. And you're gonna put a little mark on that timeline. And if that event was something that caused pain in your life, the marker is going to be pointing down. If that event was something that created success in your life or that was a positive memory, you're going to put a little arrow going up and you're going to write those things. Now, you're going to fill that out from birth till now and you're going to look at your life. That's an outline of your life. All the things that you've been through, all the challenges, all of the opportunities that you faced.
You know, one of the things Cathy's mentioned, she said event. That's a powerful word when you're looking at your story and when you're really wanting to own your story, so no longer it owns you. Because yes, I went to prison, but it wasn't a lifestyle. Now, prior to prison, our lifestyle sucked.
Oh,
it was
awful.
terrible. It was disgusting. It was all that and then some, right? But as we woke up, we began to realize that I didn't never want to come back to prison again.
Oh, I never wanted to
I don't want to
experience
experience alcoholism again. I don't want to experience drug addiction again. I don't want to experience any of these things that were detrimental to our well-being, right? And so we began to see things not as a lifestyle, but as an event in our life. And when you see things as an event, that means it happens how many times? Once.
And
right?
if it's an event in your life, then you actually have the power and the ability and the control to be able to overcome that and set that aside, knock it down out of your life, and keep moving.
Now, the good things in our life that we really wanted to celebrate, like the experiences you might have at an amusement park, you know, you will go back to the amusement park because that event that you had in the past amusement park experience was awesome. It was great. You guys had a great time. So what do? You recreate it. So that's, you know, you want to recreate events that bring pleasure, that really bring health, that help you guys get stronger. But the things that are detrimental, the things that will bring a wedge, you want to look at it, you want to call it out, and you want to make sure you never repeat that event again.
Because you are setting precedents for your children to follow you. Listen, this is especially true and helpful and important, urgent for you fathers. You are setting a course for your children by the way you live your life, by your attitudes, by your behaviors. And if you are living in denial and refusing to recognize the things in your life that got you to where you are today, you are teaching your children that they have no power or authority over their lives either. That when things happen to them, that other people are dictating their success. But when you own your own story, and step one, plotting it out, looking at it, and saying, wow, when this happened, this really infected me or affected my life in these ways. When you do that, then when something else happens again that reminds you of that, you can self-regulate and you can determine and choose your course of action and no longer being pushed into a corner where you're just reacting.
Number 2, tell your story. So as you done wrote it out, now it's time to tell your story. Find you a small audience. Now you don't gotta tell them everything right away. You don't gotta go in the details, but you gotta begin somewhere in getting it out because you're only as sick as your greatest secret, right? So you gotta get it out. Get the poison out. Get it out. Tell it over and over again. Yes, the tears will come. Eventually the healing comes where you can tell your story and you're no longer affected by your story, right? Now you can really tell your story and bring knowledge with it. You can bring wisdom with it. You can bring experience and you can help others overcome the same type of story or the same type of experience that you had that they might be having now by telling your story.
And that leads us into step 3. And step 3 is what this whole show is about this today, is owning your story. That means when somebody else tries to bring up your past, throw it in your face, you own it and you say, yep, you know what? I did do that. And this is what I learned from that. This is how I am different. This is how I'm never gonna do it again. Now you own it. You've taken the power away from your haters.
So when we come back, we're gonna wrap all this up. So stay tuned. You don't wanna miss this.
We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine Tijerina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And today we've been talking about owning your story.
You know, the power of owning your story is really how to begin to build your new legacy.
Ooh.
You know, a lot of us have some garbage, some stuff in our lives that we don't want to talk about, we don't want to deal with. In fact, we've thought it was gone. But generational cycles of self-destruction, generational cycles of poverty, generational cycles of incarceration, this is real. And how to stop it is the first thing you gotta do is own your story.
Ooh-wee, because when you own your story, you are first of all setting yourself free for those mind battles. You are releasing yourself to your highest potential. The next thing you're doing is now you're setting your family free to be able to pursue their dreams and recognize that success is a journey, right? And the third thing you're doing is you're helping people that are coming around you in your sphere of influence to be able to be set free from their stories.
So the first thing you gotta do is remember a timeline, really simple, nothing complicated. From the day you were born, straight line, and look at the events and start marking them. Whether they were good, on top, whether they were bad or traumatic, put them on the bottom. Second thing?
Right, so now you've looked at your story, you've written it, you've looked at it, now you're ready to tell your story. Tell your story. Use those as life lessons to help your kids, as life lessons to help people in your sphere of influence. And that is what will help establish you as a real leader, a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace.
You know, and that's a great word, real quick, Cathy, because in order to be that real leader, that authentic leader, right, you gotta be transparent. And they will see right through you if you're not transparent, if you're holding things back and you're not telling your own truth, right? The truth about you, what got you there, your journey, right? They're not gonna listen, they're not gonna follow, they're not gonna believe you, right?
Right, the third step is owning your story. Remember, you write it, you tell it, now you own it. And when we talk about here, what we mean when we say own your story is when somebody tries to bring your past up and stab you in the back with it, you turn around and you look at them and you say, you know what, you're right. That's who I used to be. And now when you own your story, you recognize that when somebody else keeps trying to bring your past up, it's because they don't own their own story and they're held captive. So they're trying to take you out just so that they feel better about them. But you're not going to let it happen.
It will happen because when people see your success, and they're not going to get it, they're not going to understand it, but they want it. They want it. So here's where you get to be that influencer in their lives by telling your story.
So thank you for joining us today. We know that if you apply these principles in your life, that you are going to experience freedom like never before, which is going to propel you into success.
So until next time, always remember that we are rooting for you.